Historical trauma of the Native Americans. Native Americans have been under attack for the past 530 years. On the fateful day Columbus and his crew arrived on Hispaniola, currently the island of Haiti and the Dominican Republic, in 1492, began hundreds of years of native people's death caused by disease and brutality. Up to 90% of Native Americans were killed. This began the long and still ongoing attempt of genocide of the indigenous people and culture. In the current day, the horrors of the missing, murdered indigenous women and children, the violence and brutality of Indian boarding schools, culture and language erasure, and vital resources withheld or polluted continue to cause agony. Intergenerational trauma has caused not only mental health issues to manifest, but physical disease as well. The Tohono people. When the Spanish colonizers arrived in Otham land in the 16th century, they were at first seen as helpful allies against the invading Apaches. However, as time went on, the laws imposed on the Tohono were incredibly foreign to them. Forced conversions, the concept of owning land and paying taxes to a government that is stealing said land that the Otham has been living on for generations. The colonizers brought war, diseases, and they destroyed the Tohono Otham artwork and artifacts of great importance. For example, calendar sticks, which were marked each winter and on major events for centuries, were destroyed, erasing hundreds of years of families' histories. Since just before the turn of the 20th century, indigenous people have been fighting the U.S. government for rights to adequate clean water, beginning with Winters versus the United States, which ruled that reservation lands were entitled to sufficient water to meet the needs of the reservation. That was in 1908. In 2022, that promise has still not been kept. Not only lack of water, but lack of healthy food has also plagued the Tohono O'odham Nation. In his TED Talk, Tohono O'odham member Terrell Dew Johnson tells of his mother's youth on the reservation, where there were large areas of farmland that all capable family members tended to. They ate healthy foods that were grown as a family and remained active tending to their farmland. Once America went to war in the early 20th century, they took the men to fight, and the children were taken and put into boarding schools. There wasn't anyone left to tend the land, so food options became more expensive, much less healthy, and life became more sedentary, leading to high rates of diseases such as diabetes. Johnson lost many family members to diabetes-related deaths. One effective way to commit cultural genocide of an entire group of people is to start with their children. Here in Arizona stood the Phoenix Indian Boarding School, which was not so much of a school, but rather a prison camp for children. It was active until 1990. When children entered the school, their long hair, a major part of their cultural identity, was cut. Their names were changed to Christian names. Their clothes and any remnants of their home were taken. If they spoke their native language, they were beaten. There are many reports of sexual and physical abuse. Disease ran rampant, and there was no love for these children, only pain and fear. But genocide isn't only cultural. Murder is the third leading cause of death among indigenous women. Women and children are being taken and murdered at an alarming rate. Imagine living with that kind of knowledge, looking in the mirror, looking at your mother, grandmother, sisters, aunties, and daughters, living with the constant question, am I next? The scars left by these and all the other atrocities committed against indigenous people not only impacted them individually, but trauma changes the RNA in the body, causing the subsequent generations to also have the impacted RNA, and an increased potential for stress-related illness, which can manifest in emotional and physical abuse, which is also passed down. This is how intergenerational trauma works, and how it causes illness to pass down generation after generation. PTSD has led to increased rates of anxiety, depression, and substance abuse, and Native Americans continue to die at higher rates than non-natives from diseases such as heart disease, kidney disease, chronic lower respiratory disease, suicide, and many more. Despite the 5 centuries of genocide attempts, the native people are still here, practicing healing techniques used by their ancestors. They are strong, and through their elders teaching them language, culture, and healing, indigenous people will not be silenced and will continue to heal.
The medicine wheel, also known as the Sundance Circle or sacred hoop, has been used for centuries by many Native American tribes for health and healing purposes. There are typically 4 colors on a medicine wheel that each signifies a different meaning. There can also be more or less than 4 colors. The colors that are most seen are black, white, yellow, and red, but that does also vary by tribe and different customs. The 4 colors on the medicine wheel usually symbolize the 4 directions, north, east, south, and west, the 4 seasons, winter, spring, summer, and fall, the 4 elements, fire, water, air, and earth, and so many other things. The medicine wheels can be made with pretty much anything, as it can be used for art or for health and healing purposes. There are hundreds of stone medicine wheels across the US and Canada. There can be paintings of medicine wheels or even made from plants and weaved together. The oldest medicine wheel is said to be in Alberta, Canada. It's estimated to be over 5,000 years old. One of the largest and best preserved medicine wheels is located in Wyoming and is called the Bighorn Medicine Wheel. The colors of the medicine wheel vary based on what the creator intends for the wheel. The colors could represent the medicine being used in a ceremony or decorations. The term medicine man tends to lead to a lot of misunderstanding. It's a popular term to refer to a shaman or priest magician of the Native American tribes. They are more focused on healing through psychology and theology, not so much through pathology and pharmacology. The medicine man is the spiritual guide of its tribe and in an emergency is the leader of the tribe. They most often hold a position that is comparable to that of the war chief.
The birthing ritual of the Tohono is one that is shrouded in mystery, as it was neither documented nor observed by the colonizers. What was preserved was only through word of mouth, and many of the details, like the length of most of the rituals and the exact foods and medicines used, were not documented. In the Tohono belief, pregnancy was seen as a supernatural danger, as it would destroy the war power of the husband and bring him bad luck in the battlefield, and also bring bad luck to the home life. 1 month before the woman goes into labor, she is separated from her husband and the rest of the tribe, and she and her female relatives, like her mother, aunts, and cousins, would stay with her, and would also help her with the birthing process, assisting her with anything that she needs. The soon-to-be mother, during the labor, assumes a squatting position, as it is less harsh on the woman later in the healing process. The eldest of the women would be the one to hold her hands out and catch the baby and clean them. Once she and the baby are healthy and safe, they stay separated from the tribe for 1 more month. During this time, the mother is not allowed to eat salt, red meat, and is lectured on how to be a proper mother. When she returns, she, her husband, and her new baby go to the medicine man to cleanse themselves of any negative energy and to receive the baby's first name. The way the cleansing ritual works is that the medicine man combines clay from a yellow clay ball, water, and pounded owl feathers of a pygmy cactus owl into a drink that the father, mother, and baby drink. Once this happens, all the family members become purified of any bad luck and supernatural negativity. The baby is also seen as a part of the Tohono tribe, as they now have a heart made of clay. From there, the baby is given their first name by the medicine man. The name is whatever the medicine man had dreamed of the day before or during the birthing of the child. The medicine man then gets gifted either food or a basket woven by the woman as a thank you gift. During the upbringing of the child, it is more than just the parents' duty to raise them. The elders take many roles in their lives of the children. They are their mentors, teachers, and role models. They are watched over by the men, as they are protectors of the Odom tribe. The babies and the younger children are looked after by the women, and are raised with great affection and let the children explore their desired skills. As the children become older, they become more educated in their skills of hunting, foraging, and survival, and any specific gender roles that they are taught. No child was left unmotivated or unnurtured. The Tohono O'odham lived by the ideal that it takes a village to raise a child. Along with survival skills, values were also taught. Women were taught modesty and to only speak to non-relative men unless it was to offer food. In the eyes of the Tohono O'odham people, a girl becomes a woman when she receives her first period. Just like the birthing process, the young girl is taken away from the tribe due to the belief that menstruation brings about dangerous supernatural occurrences. The girl is separated for 4 days, where she is not to touch herself in any way or her hair, sleep very little, and to eat no meat and salt. This is also a period of time where she is to learn what it means to be a woman and her womanly duties. After the 4 days are over, she is watched over diligently as she does her womanly duties until the next month's period. During the nights, the family and friends of the young woman dance as a sign of growing maturity. And once the nights of dancing are over, she receives yet again the same clay drink from the medicine man, and any impurities that came from the menstruation are washed away for good. That is when she becomes a full woman, and soon after, she is married off, and the cycle begins again once she becomes pregnant. So there is not much that is preserved for the ritual of birth and womanhood. There is still a lot of details that are still unknown and have been lost to time. And even though these rituals are not practiced anymore, it is still important that it is preserved, as not much has been preserved for the Tohono O'odham.
Creosote is a sacred plant for the Tohono O'odham nation. This plant can grow in damaged areas. It also is the most drought-tolerant plant in North America. It can live without rain for almost 2 years. Their taproot can reach 10 feet and can spread out for 50 square yards. They store water, minerals, and vital nutrients for dry spells. Its crown retains moisture and nutrients which allow it to bloom whether it rains or not.
Creosote was often taken internally for gastrointestinal problems. People chewed and swallowed the gum to control dysentery and intestinal spasms. They drank infusion for bowel complaints, and old men drank creosote tea to improve the flow of their urine. In cases of suspected poisoning, infusion could also be used to induce vomiting. Creosote was widely used in treating respiratory problems. In decongestant properties were relieved symptoms of cold, asthma, and respiratory infections. The decoction of the gum were often taken for colds, horses with colds, or runny noses. is often found creosote in their feed. Dried and powdered creosote leaves and rub them in infants' navel to promote healing. Women use decoction to relieve premature cramps and made beds of fresh branches and leaves to relieve birthing pains. White sage is a Native American sacred herb that has been around for hundreds of years. Burning sage is a ritual known as smudging. Smudging is a cleansing ceremony used to help people, places, or objects to get rid of negative energy or even evil spirits. Burning sage is one of the oldest, purest methods of cleansing a person, group of people, or space and getting rid of unwanted spirits. White sage clears bacteria up to 94% airborne. Also, when sage is burned, it releases negative ions, which is linked to putting people in positive mood. Also, it is said it gives wisdom, clarity, and increase of spiritual awareness.
Smudging is a very important part of our culture. It connects us with our spirit, our creator. And in smudging we have 4 sacred medicines. We have sage, sweetgrass, tobacco, and cedar. In most smudges you'll find people using sage because it is the medicine that we say that when you first offer tobacco, then you are ready to start on your smudge. So we have a smudge bowl here, and we have some medicines here. And there's no right or wrong way to smudge, I've been told by my elders. And a lot of our people, when they go to ceremony, if they don't know how to smudge, they feel reluctant, so they'll step back and say no. But as part of these circles, we usually stand, and the person, the elder or the conductor of the circle, will light the smudge. Now today what we're going to do is we're going to use sage, and this is what they call a white sage. And there are a number of different sages depending on where they come from. And white sage is one of the ones that you'll find in a lot of ceremony. Now you can light a sage smudge, but you can also mix it with all the other medicines. You can put a little bit of tobacco in it, you can put a little bit of sweetgrass in it, and cedar. But today we're just going to smudge with just the one medicine. Now when we smudge, we usually don't put anything to contaminate. I don't anyway, the bowl. So we just strike a match and then we can light. And we have an eagle feather. Today we have an eagle plume with us. And when we smudge, I personally, again, like to smudge using my senses first to smudge those. And people who are wearing glasses will usually smudge their glasses and take those glasses aside. Now when I smudge, I usually say, Bonjour, Gajem Nado. Sis Isaac Dishnakas, Majik Dodam. So he knows that I am addressing him. And when I smudge, I cleanse my hands, and I usually cleanse my eagle feather, because I'll use that to help smudge the people in the circle. So I'll smudge my breath, because those are where my sacred words will come out of. I will smudge my eyes so that I may be able to see all the good things that he has to offer us. I also smudge my ears because I like to hear those good words that people have to say in those circles. I also smudge my hair because for me this is my identity, and this hair also has that DNA, they say, of our history. When I also smudge, I also like to smudge here, and I also smudge down. I also smudge my feet so that I may walk on this Mother Earth with great respect. And you can pray in silence. You can pray for whatever you need. And today what I need to do is ask the Creator to be with me. So I say, Bonjour, que j'aime nado. Naramo Shinog. We Jew Shinog. Kinagago is Chikian. Nika Nikian Pene. Ravana. Migwech. Me o. So I ask the Creator to be with me from this day forward in all that I do. And just have His Spirit around me so the smudge that we light helps create that that message up to Creator, and then that smoke. And when we smudge, if we're smudging, there's an open side to this bowl, and we face that open side of that bowl out to the people that we're smudging. And when we come up to them, we'll smudge them in a way that is offering them that smoke. And then those people will smudge themselves, and while they're doing that, I hold this eagle feather. I hold it in honor of that, so that this eagle feather will also help to hear those prayers. So again, there's many different ways that a person can smudge, and there's no right or wrong. For me, this is the way that I do it. And if I model that behavior for others, they pick up their own ways of smudging. So it's one way for us to connect with our spirit, with our Creator, with Kajem Nado in my language.